In the early hours of September 2nd, 1666, London was still asleep. The streets were narrow. The houses were wooden. The city smelled of smoke, animals, and damp timber. No one knew that before the sun rose, London would begin to burn. Not just a few buildings, not a single street, but almost the entire city. This is the story of the Great Fire of London, a disaster so powerful that it destroyed medieval London forever and forced a new, modern city to rise from the ashes. London before the fire. To understand the fire, we must first understand London in 1666. This was a city built for another age. Most buildings were made of wood and pitch. Roofs leaned over the streets, sometimes nearly touching above people's heads. Alleys were so narrow that sunlight barely reached the ground. Fireplaces were everywhere. Candles burned day and night. Bakeries, blacksmiths, and brewers worked with open flames. And there was one more danger. The summer of 1666 had been hot and dry. Wood was brittle. Thatch was like tinder. London was a city waiting for a spark. The spark. The fire began quietly, shortly after midnight, in a bakery on Pudding Lane, owned by Thomas Fariner. An oven was not fully extinguished. A small flame caught the wooden structure. At first, it seemed manageable, but the wind was strong. Within minutes, flames climbed the walls. Within an hour, the fire leapt from house to house. By dawn, London was burning, a city out of control. Firefighting in 1666 was primitive. There were no fire engines, no organized fire brigades. The main method was simple: tear buildings down to create fire breaks. But hesitation proved fatal. The Lord Mayor, Sir Thomas Bloodworth, was slow to act. He underestimated the fire. By the time demolition was ordered, the flames were already unstoppable. The wind turned the fire into a storm. Burning debris flew through the air, igniting rooftops far ahead of the main blaze. People fled with what they could carry: furniture, clothing, family heirlooms. Some escaped with nothing but their lives. 3 days of fire. For 4 days and nights, London burned. St. Paul's Cathedral, one of the greatest churches in England, caught fire. The stone walls survived, but the wooden scaffolding burned like a torch. Molten lead poured from the roof and flowed through the streets. The sky turned orange. Ash fell like snow. Entire neighborhoods disappeared. By the time the fire ended, over 13,000 houses destroyed, 87 churches lost, nearly 80% of the city reduced to ruins. Yet remarkably, official records list only a handful of deaths. But historians believe the true number was far higher. Chaos, fear, and blame. As London burned, fear spread faster than the flames. England was at war with the Dutch and the French. Rumors spread that the fire was sabotage. Foreigners were attacked in the streets. Innocent people were blamed. One man, a French watchmaker named Robert Hubert, confessed under pressure to starting the fire. His confession was false. He was executed anyway. In moments of disaster, people look for someone to blame. The aftermath. When the flames finally died, London was unrecognizable. Tens of thousands were homeless. The medieval city was gone. But from destruction came opportunity. Architects and planners imagined something new. Wider streets, brick and stone buildings, better sanitation, stronger fire regulations. Sir Christopher Wren proposed grand designs, inspired by Paris and Rome. Not all his ideas were adopted, but one symbol would rise above the city: a new St. Paul's Cathedral. Birth of a modern city. The rebuilding of London changed everything. Wood was banned from outer walls. Buildings were regulated by height. Streets were widened. The city became safer, cleaner, and stronger. The fire destroyed the old London, but it created the foundation for the global capital we know today. Banks, trade, and empire followed. From ashes, London became modern. The Great Fire of London was a tragedy, but it was also a turning point. It showed that cities, like people, can survive disaster and emerge transformed. When you walk through London today, past stone buildings and wide streets, you are walking through the legacy of 1666, a city reborn by fire. If you enjoyed this journey into history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us again as we explore the moments that changed the world. Because sometimes, to build the future, the past must burn.